we are diving back into budget decks, and with this sudden rise in popularity, we are going to be playing some mono white aggro. Hey everybody, it's skartv, and today's video we dive into playing my budget deck of mono white aggro. Over time I made minor adjustments to the list. If you've been playing my list I've created, hopefully it's been going well for you and you've been upgrading it to fit you know, the style of aggro that is currently in the meta as a whole. But if you're new here and like these kind of videos, hit that like button. It definitely helps out a lot. If you are new here, want to post new videos on the channel, hit that subscribe button. But let's dive into the deck and let's talk about it. So essentially the theory I usually go with when it comes to budget style decks is I usually never pay more than 4 rares at most when it comes to these style of decks, just because I want to keep the wild cards down to a minimum for a person who's newer to the game, who doesn't have a lot of cards or wild cards to go around, or even someone who wants to play this deck in real life. I think, you know, limited rares makes it a little bit on the cheaper side because commons and uncommons most of the time are usually pretty cheap to come across. With that being said, this is one of those budget decks. I did make one minor adjustment to the deck since I posted the list last, so I will have that link down in the description below. So if you want to copy that list and upgrade the list to that, we did make that adjustment. And with that being said, I added in Maul the Skyclaves. I think this is like the card you want definitely in your deck before you kind of get into more of the mythics and things like that that come with the mono white aggro deck that's currently going around in the meta as a whole. And I think that deck, you know, that card by itself just kind of changes the game overall because it gives our creatures flying and first strike, which I think is a benefit, I think, overall to that strategy. You know, overall, the other things in the deck aren't really too much different than what you may see in these style of decks. There is a possibility that I may put in the enchantment that the deck is playing that gives target creature vigilance and +1/+1 because of the escape and its benefit of playing against rogues. So if you do see that in the gameplay, it may be because I made the adjustment. I actually haven't played the games yet, so I don't really know if I'm going to make the adjustment. We'll see how the games go and see if that's something that we're going to squeak out, but I'll make a note of it in the end of the video about what I took out if I did add that. With that being said, I think the deck is pretty straightforward of what we're trying to do. You play 3 copies of All Seeds Life Bounty for the protection from a particular color if our opponent tries to target our creatures with spells. We got Battlefield Raptor. This is something I'm trying out in the 1-drop slot, just because I feel like it's a decent 1/2 for a striker. It definitely slows down mono red in the sense because even if their Fervent Champion swings in, this does have 1 power and it also has first strike. So if they don't have another knight on the battlefield, this will be able to block into that Fervent Champion. Then we got Fight as 1. I think it's a decent protection spell in this deck just on the basis of it gives our target non-human creature +1/+1 indestructible, and if we have a human creature on the battlefield as well, +1/+1 indestructible. This is something I mess around with just because, you know, we're very limited on what we have in the deck, and you know, I figure this is a good way to kind of protect our creatures and spells, you know, for, you know, 1 mana. And of course we got Selfless Savior. This goes hand in hand when mono white, just because you can sacrifice to give target creature indestructible in a turn. It is unfortunate if our opponent does play something that, you know, would target this and we don't have anything to sacrifice in response, but, you know, we can always Selfless Savior. Usher the Fallen, I think, is a very good card that came out of Kaldheim that has definitely seen a lot of play in competitive play because for 1 mana you get a 2/1 that can produce tokens in the later game. I think is overall very good. You know, I think a 2/1 for 1 is definitely very good and your opponent has to deal with it before it becomes a nuisance. So because we're playing limited rares, I was trying to figure out what would be the best in the slot for +1/+1 counters, and unfortunately there really isn't a creature that really, you know, replaces the 2-drop that produces 1 +1/+1 counters every time you go to combat. So I thought Basari's Solidarity was an okay choice because it gives 1 +1/+1 counter to each creature you control. So at least, you know, if you're not going to get 1 every turn, you're at least going to get 1 on each of your creatures on the battlefield by the time you play this. So I went with 3 of these just because I thought, you know, it was a decent replacement, though maybe not an exact replacement. Then we're going to Glass Casket here for some spot removal in the deck because we don't have certain cards that kind of spot removal like Giant Killer and things like that. I thought Glass Casket could be a next best option. Really isn't too much in the way of artifact hate in the format. Maybe there's some bounce effects, but nothing that's really going to target an artifact that's going to remove it. So I thought Glass Casket was a decent area here. Because we're playing very tiny and we're not really getting a lot of +1/+1 counters and things like that, I figured a Phalanx Tactics was an interesting card here because it gives target creature control +2/+1, and then each other creature control +1/+1, which I thought was a very interesting thing because the deck is fairly cheap on how much the creatures cost, and given all our creatures additional, you know, +1/+1 when they attack, I feel like it's a good way to catch our opponent off surprise because initially a lot of the creatures are kind of like 1/1s or 2/1s and things like that. You know, giving them additional, you know, +1/+1 is definitely going to, you know, surprise our opponent and definitely maybe catch them off guard if we're trying to fish him off. And of course, Seasoned Hollowblade is another card I feel like is a very good staple in a lot of mono white decks just because of its ability that it's a 2 mana 3/1, and then we can always discard a card and, give it indestructible end of turn. So if we have, lands we don't need and things like that, definitely good, card to definitely keep on the battlefield to definitely get in your opponent's way if they're trying to do a different strategy. So I added Daxos into the deck because we are playing a lot of white cards, of course, and he's a pretty good card in the sense that he'll allow us to gain life every single time we play a creature, and will also gain a life every time a single creature dies. And he has a decent toughness, especially if we get a decent amount of creatures out on the battlefield. So, for 2 mana, for 2, whatever our devotional white is, I think overall is a pretty good card. So I figured it was a good card to have in the deck. Then we go with 2 copies of Banish and Light, just like, Glass Casket. We don't really have a way of any sort of removal, so I guess Glass Casket is our other way of removing certain cards outside of, creatures. And, for 3 mana, we can't play it, we don't have access to any of the rares that, removes target creature or thing with convertment cost 4 or less. So Banish and Light's an okay substitute. Sure, we don't get the creature out of it, but, at least we can exile something until this leaves the battlefield for the meantime. Then we go with 4 Maul the Skyclaves. Like I said, it's like the mono white card. This helps make mono white aggro, and it comes in the battlefield, attaches automatically to creature we control, and gives it +2/+2, flying for a strike. And I think overall that's a very good value right then and there. So when it comes to playing aggro and mono white, I think this is like the card you definitely want first out of all of them, just because it's going to be that much better for your deck. Then I went with 22 lands. Sure, maybe we don't need as many because most of our creatures are 1 and 2 drops with a couple 3s, but we do want to make sure we want to hit the equip possibility if our creature does die. And just having the ability to draw into enough lands is always good. The other thing too is I do have some options that you can always go into and add to the deck if you think that these are good. There are some cards I actually haven't added to, but I'll make sure I add it in the link description down below, so if you want to add those cards. The one thing I can think is the Halvar, I think, is the new card from Kaldheim that is actually very good and definitely fits in the deck. Yeah, Halvar, the God of Battle, because of his ability to, 1, he's a 4/4 creature that creatures we control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike, and at the end of the turn, or at the beginning of each combat, you may attach or an equipment you control from one creature to another creature. So a free swap every single time we go to combat on either turn is definitely very good. And the fact that he can be also be an equipment for 2 mana, that's a +2/+0 and has vigilance, and whenever the creature dies, you return it back to your hand. So definitely a good way to reoccur creatures, especially like Selfless Saviors or Alices of Light Bounties, because they have the sacrifice ability. So definitely an interesting card that is definitely going to go in the sideboard that you definitely want to add at least 2 copies of in the deck. With that being said, guys, let's dive into some games. Let's see how we do. Let's see if where this deck kind of ranks in the meta as a whole. If this is a decent area to get into mono white aggro, if this is something you're looking to possibly play with the popularity of the deck, and see how we do. All right, our opponent's on the play. They're playing Yorion. I do like this hand here. I know we only have 2 lands, but we don't really need too many more, and Seasoned Hollowblade's very good, so I think we keep. Also, the Daxos is actually pretty decent here too. Our opponent did mulligan, so we're kind of waiting to see what they're doing here. I don't know if they've picked out what card they have, because I think they still have 7 in their hand, yeah, so they do have to put 1 back. And I guess they decided to keep. Alright, so they're playing something with the tree, the world tree. So they're probably playing something that's going to be a lot of colors. So I guess we'll just kind of play Selfless Savior and say go. They are a card toucher. They like to touch their cards. Alright. They could possibly have counters, so I mean it is one of those things. So we'll swing in, see what happens. Okay, they didn't have anything that's going to really hold us up. So we'll play Seasoned Hollowblade, say go. All the colors. All right, so we didn't draw the land, which is kind of unfortunate because we did draw very well into Maul of the Skyclaves, so that's the one downfall here. We'll play another Selfless Savior and say go. Let's play just an All-Seeds as well, why not? We can't do anything with the All-Seeds, but might as well have, some options. They could have an Extinction event, which would suck. Alright, what are you gonna do here, dude? That's fine. I mean, I'll take the life gain. Land? No. Darn. Yeah, let's swing in. Missing land drops, which is unfortunate. gain some life. I think we play Daxos here. It's a 2/5, decent blocker. It's a possibility they may do something like Extinction Event. I'm uncertain exactly what their option is here. This could be the Sultai Yorion deck that plays like various things that help get big things down the battlefield. Finding the Old Gods. What do we got? All right, I guess we'll get rid of Selfless Savior. Keep protection. It's fine. Nothing happens. All right, that's not a land. But it's actually not a bad card, so we'll play it. We'll gain a life. And we'll swing in for 6. So they're at 4. We'll say end turn here. And kind of see what our opponent does. Now, if we draw a land here, we're actually looking very good. On the basis of that we can just get wider than our opponent. Our opponent's going to play something big here, but I don't really think it's going to matter too much. The question is, are they going to be able to do anything that's actually going to slow us down from attacking? Because they'd have to play something that wipes the board and also puts a blocker out. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. And they only have 7 mana to do it. All right, so they're going to play Emergent Ultimatum. That was the card I was thinking of. I just couldn't think of the name. It's one of the ultimatums. They're going to look for options to probably wipe our board. I guess it is what it is. Actually, I think they have to make the right choice here. If we draw a land here and they don't get a creature that's flying, we can actually possibly get a land and play Maul the Skyclaves and just fly over whatever they decide. I actually selected the wrong card, so that was my bad. We're not dead, we're not dead, thankfully. Yeah, we'll just kind of take their card. And then we'll say go. So the thing with the Vorinclex, I could have chosen Vorinclex there, is that they could have double countered, which would have tapped all our creatures down, which would have been the downfall. Now the question is, does our opponent have enough? They're not going to attack her because they're, of course, going to leave a blocker. The question is, should they make a sacrifice here? Because if we draw the right card, we can just win the game. Because we can just give Season Holiday protection from blue. And be fine. So their goal is to draw something that's going to kill our creature or make us tap Season Hollowblade. That's fair. We'll say go. The Orion's not a big deal, and it looks like, and we're on like a single turn to possibly find something that's gonna take care of it. See, they only had that, so that's actually very good for us. Like I said, we're one card away from just getting that lethal damage because we can give ourselves protection here. It is actually very interesting if they did have something. We're definitely in a tough pickle here. Now that we sacrificed the all seeds, you know, it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't really draw anything. They cycle. Okay, that's actually very good for us. That means they're looking for an answer. They do have a lot of mana, so if they do draw something like another Emergent Ultimatum, that's not really good for us. They really don't have too much here. All right, so they have something that's going to either wipe the board Because they're attacking in. I can't block. Can I put a +1/+1 counter on it? Are you gonna do something now? Blocker? Shark? A shark. They're gonna block. Yeah, all we really need is just another owl seeds and we'll be fine. I mean, I guess their hope is to draw something that makes us discard. They can't actually go all in here. Cycle. They're probably looking for removal. I don't have a card, so if you have a removal, you do it now. Yeah, I'm dead because I didn't draw anything, but it was a close game. Mark goes first. Our hands, I don't know, it's okay. So I guess we'll keep. I don't think I've been on the play any of these games. Maybe I have, maybe the first game. It's always one of those things you kind of like notice. It's like, have I been on the play? All right, regular forests. I'm not playing snow, so I don't have to worry about the fight spell unless they do play snow. Now, is it mono green food? Is it 2 colors? Is it like rule? That's the real question here. What colors are we playing? All right, so something Simic. Interesting. We attack in first and just see what happens. They have something to. Interesting. Can I just activate and create another one? 1/1 warrior. I'll say go. I'm kind of hoping they tap out this turn. All right, so they don't play anything there. Let's swing in again. They could have something like Brazen Borrower. All right, so that one actually went really quick. Self a Savior. And we'll boast. We'll get some more 1/1s. Why not? Have some nice chump blockers. Get wide on our opponent. Maybe we can draw something that allows us to get a +1/+1 counters. Because then we'll be a decently wide board, and then, you know, our opponent has to deal with like small creatures that are like 2/2s and stuff. All right, they got 4 lands. What color are we getting? That's fine. So far, okay, so we're playing Teamer. Teamer what? That's the question. Beanstalk Giant, we're ramping. Okay, we ramping, boys. All right. Bone Crusher Giant. Something? I mean, they have it. You might as well play it, dude. Alright, that's fine. You'll still take 3. I feel like that was a highly ineffective Into the Royal. And I guess if you're gonna do stuff like that, might as well play all the things. Because I don't honestly think they can get out a lot of threats. So, I mean, might as well just go as wide as possible on our opponent, and then also give us protection both indestructibility and also protection from particular color. Alright, Cultivate's fine. Sure. Gonna ramp into something like an Ugin or something. That's fine. Let's draw into something big. While the Skyclave is actually pretty big, I think. Big Pog. Put on one of these bad boys. Swing aggressively. Start 2. I will say go. I mean, they could play something like Ugin that just destroys. Awesome. Good game. I don't. Why'd you? I guess they can't get anything. Dig into anything that's gonna wipe our board. Guess they don't play Ugin. All right. Yeah, not a great hand, but I guess we keep. We'll see what happens. We're on the play. It's an aggressive hand, so I guess we'll see what our opponent's playing and go from there. All right, just playing slow. I'm liking it. We'll swing in. I'll do it this way. I'm not gonna play the Raptor. I'll just activate it this way. Start building up a board that way, and then we can play like Raptor or something if they decide to board wipe. Foretell. All right. Well, I guess we will be aggressive because they're tapped out. Might as well. We'll put that bad boy there. Swing in for 5. All right. So now they have to actually deal with this. See, when control's behind, it's actually puts them in a weird spot. Though I don't like it when, you know, there's hesitation. Just play your Brazen Borrower, dude. I'm actually gonna stay back because, you know, they could board wipe or something like a Doomscar. Might as well not play into it. That's something they would want to do here. That's fine. We could get a 1/1. Is that good? I don't think so. Might as well just bash you in the face then with a 3/3. And say go. Doomscar? Sure. Let's take your Angel. We have to play another one to block. And we'll play this lovely little birdie and say go. See, the thing is, they can always tap out now and play like a second one. And what we can do here is they could have a counter. All right, Dream Trawler, that's perfectly fine, dude. All right, how do we want to do this? Because we can wall and we can also... See, the thing is they have to block this one or they're dead. Or they're not dead, but we'll attack him with just this because they can chump the other one. All right, so you want to go down to 1. Got it. So I guess you want to wipe the board? Because attacking with Dream Trawler does nothing for you. Unless you can play multiple... No, I'll say no. You're at 6. Fine, I can swing for 6. You realize all I need is just one, like, good removal spell for your flyer, right? And it's like, I already know you have the Brazen Borrower. Sure. You know what I should have done? I should have moved it, but it's fine. Yeah. Do you have a big draw spell? Because you're not going to gain enough life. Sure. Wipe the board. I don't know what you're trying to do here, dude. I feel like Angel, that's fine. Another Angel, got it. You have a counter? I sure. Because that's the card you want to counter out of everything. This would be the turn you want to actually draw a bunch of cards. Alright. I feel like you had that. Opponent goes first. I actually like our hand. It's very, like, a little bit of pump and stuff. So I don't mind it, but it kind of sucks that we're on the play. Or on the, yeah, we're on the play. So we'll have to wait and see what our opponent's doing. Alright, colorless land. I don't know what that means, but sure. We'll play 2-1. I'm gonna assume they're playing Ugin. Just gonna throw it out there. What does that one do? We're gonna go wide as possible. Awesome. You don't need extra mana. Alright, what is our opponent doing? Another land? Okay. What does this do? Awesome. We're just gonna go as hard as possible. We're gonna hit him as hard as possible, as quick as possible, and see where that takes us. 30. What is the big move here? Alright. I don't know what that does, but they're dead? Opponent goes first, yet again. Nothing uncommon. I don't mind the hand. Sure, we don't have a Skyclave, but I like that there's a little bit of diversity here, a little bit of removal. Season Hollowblade's actually very strong here. On the basis of us not knowing what our opponent's doing. Helps us stay aggressive. Alright, they're playing something green. Alright, so we're playing mono green aggro. Not really sure. We'll play the bird, because the bird actually blocks well into that. Don't do it. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like I warned you. You have like a ram through? Okay. That was a great play. Are you trying to figure out my deck based on 3 cards? I don't know. I'm playing mono white, I think. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It makes their blockers very awkward. Reclaim the things. Okay, so we're getting a basic land. Oh, I guess we're mana screwed. Would be my best guess here. Second land. Swarm Scambler? Sure. What do we want to do here? Give each creature... Let's see how they block. Let's go with that. Let's see how they block. We'll swing all in. Okay. Okay. We'll play another bird. And we'll say go. I know. Oh, I know. Staying aggressive. You know what? I don't really care. Let's just swing all in. I don't really care. All right. What else do we got? Flying goose. Goosey goosey. Make a food and eat it. I guess that's good. You know, it really stinks when you don't have a lot of land. I guess we play this. And then we do this. Just make everything more aggressive. Swing. Are you gonna eat and then block? Okay, you take all the damage. Interesting. You're at 1. Gonna go up to 4. Awesome. I think you're still dead unless you eat. Okay, who are you gonna fight? Nothing happens. Don't tap your thing, because then you're dead. Because you're at 1. Sure. I mean, you're not dead. You have food. You have blockers. All right, we're on the play. I really like this hand. Let's draw lands. Say go. That is the hand we have. Let's keep it because this is a really good hand, but hopefully we draw lands. Green. Fair. Block. I honestly don't care about this. It's all part of the plan. Because I'll just play an indestructible creature. That's how it works for me. You gotta play a 1/1 to make your left strike beast meaningful. Okay. That is a beetle. Yeah, I will just slam this and just do as much damage as possible. I honestly don't care if their beetle grows because we're going to be doing 5 a turn at the moment. and there's nothing their Love Struck Beast unfortunately can do about it. And we can give it indestructible, so I think we're good in that department. I mean, I'll actually discard Daxos to save it. Sure. Okay. I think I'm gonna slam another one. Does that help me win if I slam another one? They only do 7 next turn. I do 7 this turn. They're down to 14. Glass Casket is probably the safer bet here. So might as well Glass Casket the thing that's going to draw them creatures. Just get rid of that. They don't need their thing get any bigger. We hit him for 5. We can play Daxos, which is okay here. Gives it a decent blocker, because, you know, it can eat a 4/4. They're at 10. Yep. Sure. It's a mute block. All right, sweet. We're gonna keep the Hollow Blade in our hand. We're gonna slam the other Maul the Skyclaves. Might as well put it on here so we can do, you know, 9 damage. Let's mount 1. Let's say go. Let's see what they can do to turn this around. I mean, they can hit us back for at least 10 if they get a 1/1 on the battlefield. Fine. Okay, has indestructible. That's fine. All right, and we are back. I mean, overall, the games went fairly well. I mean, the couple of the earlier games in the video, you know, we didn't do so well, but I think as we kind of played more, we kind of saw how that kind of, you know, adjusts itself, I guess, as we shuffle up multiple times and play multiple games. When we get certain cards that can just kind of line up with one another, I think this is definitely a good starting place if you're looking to play the new mono white deck that I feel like everyone's starting to play in the meta as a whole. Yeah, like I said, I feel like if you don't have them all the Skyclaves, I would say maybe wait till you maybe have the wild cards to craft them. But overall, the deck performs fairly well. It is a nice, aggressive, little small engine. We didn't really get faced against many decks that play a lot of board wipes for the most part, though we were ready for some of our opponents trying to destroy our creatures by giving our creatures indestructible. With that being said, guys, if you like the video, hit that like button. It definitely helps out a lot. If you're new here, want to know post new videos on the channel, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, see you in the next video.